Hello guys, and welcome to a new video. In this video I'm going to show you how to use my save and load system to save such data as player position and player score and other things. So first thing you have to do is go to Windows and your assets package manager and just download the asset from the Unity asset store and import it. I won't do it again because I already did that, and I'm not gonna show you the demo. If you want to see the demo and in-depth video about the asset, you can check my other video in the screen right now. And yeah, so if you realize now the position and the score is not saved, this is just a simple game, and when I hit the wall I get one score, and if I drag it, the player shoot and change his position. So how we do that, it's very easy. I just have a simple scene here with the player, with player manager and player drag and shoot script. Just nothing have to do with that, and I have a score manager that just store the score and update it. So how to save these things? First, I wanted to create a data manager script or a player data. You can do it as many ways you like. This is my way to do things. So let's open the script and see what it have in it. So first thing, to use the system you have to type using data management namespace so you can get access to all the features. And yeah, so this is a player data script that I create. First thing, I created an instance of it so I can access it from any other script, and on the awake I just call the instance equal to this. So this is all what you have to do for this script. This is nothing have to do with the asset, just that's my personal preference. I want to make a script and access it from any other scripts to get the data. And then I created a class that store all the player data. I call it my data and serialize it here. My data is my data, of course, like you do with any other class. And in this class it have the data that I want to save, like player score and player position, and of course you can add as much data as you like in any type, even strings or dictionaries or lists, anything you can save. So this is all for data stuffs. And yeah, so how to use the system? First you have to type public data and call it whatever you like. So the data is the object that will have all your data. So yeah, and let's serialize it, or let's call it in the awake data equal new data, and it will ask you for a profile ID. Profile ID is just the name of the file that you're gonna store the data in. If you have multiple profile game, this will change depend of your slot. Like if you go to demo, there is an example for that. But since it's like one profile game, I will just call it one or whatever you like, it doesn't matter. So yeah, first, how to save the data or how to load the data. To load the data is very simple. First, it's load automatically. Like you can type data.load profile and it will load all the profile, but this is called automatically when you create the data, and you can change it from the config. If you go here and data and configuration, you will see that you see here auto load and it's ticked on, and you can take it off or on, but if it's on, this will call automatically wherever you create your data. So to load the data, I want to load this game object here. I want to load this class. You see this score and position, I want to load it. So how to do it? Very simple. First, let's do data that has data and the tag that you already saved. So if it has data, so there is a data with this name, we're gonna load it. How to load it? Just type my data, which is this object right here, equal to data that get data, and you give it the type, which the type is my data, and the tag. So the tag is player data. You can call it whatever you like, but be careful, it's case sensitive. So if you call it here player, like if you call it here I don't know, random thing, you will just go here too and it will be random thing, and here too will be random thing. So it's case sensitive, be careful. So this is if we have data already saved. That's what you're gonna do. If you have data already saved, you're gonna call this, and this things, all the objects here will be updated with the data that you already saved. Else, if I don't have data, this is optional. You can do data that set data, and you give it the tag and the value. So the tag is player data and the value is my data, which is this object. So this is personal preference, you can delete it doesn't matter. So yeah, this is how to load data, very simple. Now how to save the data. To save it is just simple as loading it. We're just gonna go here, data.setData. So we're gonna update the data with this tag in our file. If you have data with the tag called player data, we're gonna update it with this, with my data, which is these things right there. So it's very simple, if it does make sense. And then we save it. Here we set it, it's just setting the data. Like if the score was 0, now the score, like if it's 20, now it's gonna update, so it will be 20, but it will not be saved. So if you close the game and open it again, it will not be saved. To save it, just call data.saveProfile, and that's all that you have to do. So now the data saved. If you load the game again, this will be updated in your values. So this is just an example. So how I save the score first. Let's go and see the score manager. In the score manager, first I have an end called score. It makes sense. And then in the start, I just call the score from my player data.instance. Remember the instance we created here, this one. Let's access this instance from any other script I want, and then access my data, which is this object here, my data, and then we access the score from my data. And yeah, so I'm just going now I get the score from it. But be careful, you call it in start and not in awake. Why call it on awake? Because this is called in awake. We want this to be called first. So this is first, always. We want to load the data first. And then we access it from other scripts, which what come after awake is start. So in the start, we're gonna load my score. And now how I change this score from this script, it's very easy. Just go do the opposite thing. Player data.instance.myData.score, and it's equal to score. When I add score, like anytime I add score, if you see here, score plus plus, so it's gonna add by 1, we set it here. So that's all what you have to do if you want to add score. In the position is same thing, like in the start I do transform.position equal to player data.instance.myData.position, and that's all. And in update, I'm gonna update the position each frame. I don't recommend you to do that, but whatever, you can do it like every 1 second or every half second, I don't know, it depends on you, but it's not very costly. So I'm just gonna type player data.instance.myData.position equal to transform.position. So now this is how we set the position, this is how we load the position. And then all of this we didn't save yet, like this public void save is not called from anywhere. So this is optional to you. You can call it in checkpoints in your game. Like if you have a checkpoint in your game, just call this instance, this player data.instance.save, and it will save all the data. Or you can call it when you leave the application, which I'm gonna do now. So we're just gonna do on application quit, and we're just gonna call this save. So when I leave the game or I exit the game, this save data thing will be called. So let's try and see if everything works fine. Blah blah blah. So we play, we move our player. If you hit the wall, the score got updated. So the score now is 3 and the player is around here. If I close the game, you can see some debug message says the player data added successfully. So here we add the data, and then in green you're gonna see data.saved successfully, and they tell you which profile you saved the data in, which is 1. So if you see this message, everything is, and now if we play the game, you're gonna see a green message tell you data loaded successfully, and it tells you which profile you loaded the data from. And if we close, like if we play again, so we have 6 7, play around here, close the game, we open, we see 8, and the player is around here. So yeah, everything is working very good. This is just a small example how you save some player data. You can save a lot of things like lists, anything, and you don't have to do it my way. So my way is just like create a public class and have all my data there, and then just save this class. But you can't save anything. You can just like you can save vectors. If you go here, get data, and you make vector, you can save a list. You can save anything. Like for example, if I go to player score, I can just save a score in separate object. So yeah, guys, this is all. And if you want more in-depth video or in-depth guide, you can check the documentation in the script. You can go here and save and load system. You can open the documentation and you just check it. There is like documentation for everything, like how you delete data, how you save, how you load, what you can save, other useful methods like delete profile, or you can delete data, and yeah, some other parameters like file path, backup file path, because there's a backup file. You can see how the data is encrypted, is loaded, is empty, the JSON file, because the system uses JSON. You can check is saved, so if the data is saved or not, and some other cool stuff like some examples, and or you can just check my other video, my in-depth video. And yeah, this is all, and see you in the next video.